What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Aces High podcast. We're your hosts, Mariah and Ty. Ty, happy Monday. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing well. Happy Monday to you as well. How you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. The very first day that we can no longer say that the Aces are WNBA champs, because there's a new champ. There's a new champ in town. So congrats to New York Liberty. It's about fucking time. Yeah, chat, what's up? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are all doing well. Let's see who we got. I haven't even looked at chat, but I can guarantee I already know who the first two names are. Let's see. Let's just see. The first two and only two. How about that? Throwback, what's up?
What up?
Appreciate you as always. Don, what's good? What's good? Along with Don, let's say hello to Ariel. Hello to Jayla. Appreciate you, the whole family, for tuning in. She told me that the girls they tune in and listen to me say hello to everybody, and they copy me, and so like it's a whole thing now. So what's up, girls? Awesome. Hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, let's get into it. The season's over. The 2024 WNBA season officially over. Last night, man, we talked about this too, and I had told you that I had seen a lot of tweets, even in spaces, different WNBA podcasts. Like, a lot of the talk, once it found out who were going to be the two teams in the finals, were about how the series was going to suck. It was going to be boring. Mm-hmm. These teams, well, already once other teams were out of the playoffs, it was the numbers were going to drop. Let's not forget about that part, which didn't happen. But then also that, this finals was going to suck. These two teams were boring, like, one of the teams, like, all they kept saying, the Lynx hardly have any fans, like, so much shit was being talked, like, unnecessarily, right?
Yeah.
And like, I had even asked you, do you think, like, what do you think? And you're like, no, like, I think it's going to be good. Well, let me just tell you, the fact that this even went 5 games, like, the full series was like, awesome, like, that we got 5 games of this, and then the fact 2 of them to go to overtime, in a final series, like that tells you how close, like, there was never a night, like, even when one team would start and be up 20 points, right? Like, there was never a game where it was just like, and I even told you, one of the games I turned off and I started cooking and whatever, and by the time I got back and turned it back on, it was like a completely different game, and that's like how every game was. There was never a game that was like a complete blowout and it's like, oh, this shit sucks, like, I'm gonna turn this off, like, I'm not gonna watch this. Like, it was even so, like, we talked about that they're competing against, they played Thursday night against Thursday night football. Obviously, every single Sunday they freaking play it against the NFL.
Retarded.
And even, like, obviously we do this podcast, so we have to be watching the games, but at the same time, even when competing against football, where we do a football podcast too, we have to be watching those games too. Like, it was never a time where I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to watch this game. My team's not even playing in the finals, and I wasn't even going to turn it off for my team playing in football. Like, that's how good the friggin' series was. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, I was sick to my stomach during times of this series, like, and it's not even my team. Like, why should I be so freaking nervous? Like, and like, I didn't care, like I told you guys, the only reason I was swayed one way or another was just because of the fan bases. Like, I had no, and obviously we, as Aces fans, like, we can't stand the Liberty, right? Like, it's just a thing. So, like, for that, and obviously, we beat their ass and all this shit. So they're little bros, so it's about time they get to try to start catching up. 28 years
28
in a franchise, and so as much, like, I didn't want them to win, obviously, because what I just said, like, they're like rivals with the Aces, But I do like players on that team, so I am happy, for them. Like, Sabali, for example, like, as know, like
yeah.
I'm her biggest fan now because I'm trying to get her sister to Vegas, right? So whole family, I'm fans of the
He's
mom, the
recruiting.
dad, I don't cousins, line them up. I'm a Sabali family fan now.
Mariah's gonna learn some German.
Yeah, and then like we talked about JJ, like is that she would be so important, needed in this series, and that she had to stay out of foul trouble.
Yep.
And the fact that she, man, to get finals MVP, that tells you how important and how needed she was. Because guess what? Sabrina, her shooters didn't freaking show up. Like half the freaking nights they didn't show up. But guess who showed up and stayed out of foul trouble and played defense, offense, was rebounding, like doing everything that they needed. Like the things that we're always like, JJ, you're so tall. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Like the things that we gripe on JJ about, she did everything like, that was needed in these finals. We also talked about, I even had on the last episode's picture, like, role players. We talked, and I told you, the role players, they need to show up, right? Their benches. Whose bench is going to show up? Well, we saw last night in game 5, everybody needed to fucking show up, right? Win, go home. And you had on the Lynx side, you had Fee and what's her face?
Kayla McBride.
Yeah, McBride showed up, and it was like they couldn't get shit out of nobody else. The guards didn't show up, the bench didn't show up, nobody showed up. Then you have on the other side, you have Liberty, right? They're shooters. I just talked about it. Sabrina shot 5% from the field. 5%. She made one shot, like 1 for 19 or something, like terrible. You had Sabrina, she missing free throws when needed again, like, missing big shots that she needed. She did hit the final free throws that she shouldn't even been shooting, but we'll get into that. But so when all the rest was going wrong, guess what? Who stepped up? Sabali stepped up. Their bench stepped up and played crucial minutes this entire series, and especially last night. Like Sabali had after the game, like you had that entire New York packed, right, place chanting. They're not chanting Sabrina's name. They're not chanting Stewie's name. They're not even chanting JJ's name. They're chanting Sabali throughout the entire freaking place. Like, just amazing. Give me your thoughts on, just everything.
Yeah, I'll just echo what you said. First of all, an outstanding series, a great series, like from start to finish. Game 1 through 5 was all exciting. All that talk in the beginning about it's going to be boring, just retarded. We're talking about the 2 best teams in the league record-wise, right? The 1 and 2 seeds. They were going to go at it. It's funny to hear people say the Lynx don't have any fans. They're a 4-time championship organization.
And that place was crazy during their
games. They sell out every time. Yeah. Like, you just don't know the league. Like, shut up. Mm-hmm. But two great teams going at it. Once again, like, these are the 2 teams that competed for the Commissioner's Cup early in the season, right? So they've been there all along. Yep. And this was just a culmination of the season. The game 5 did not disappoint, right? It carried the flow of the series throughout. Every game was tight, contested, and this was every game had some intrigue, some drama, and this one had all of it. Every last bit of it. It was like Minnesota took control early, and New York came out after the half and doing things. And like you said, the bench players, where'd they come from? Like Kayla Thornton and Nar Sabali, just out of nowhere. Yeah. I mean, they played a little during the season, but to play crucial key minutes down the stretch where they were the women, like Sandy left them out there like, no, you're not coming off the court. We need you out there. And they were really the catalyst that to bring this thing home. I mean, you can't write it better than that. It was just great. It was just great to see, great to have, hats off to New York. The first one in 28 years. You can see it. It meant something. I know just being here in New York, it means something. I know these Liberty fans. I've been in Barclays. I know the excitement that is bringing, and see, just Teresa Witherspoon on hand and what it means to her, to see all the greats like Swin Cash and Sue Wicks. And I know Kim Hampton was in the building, because Kim Hampton is always in the building. If you don't know, look it up. Like these are the women who paved the way, right? They were the OGs, the originals. Like they were there from the beginning.
Mhm.
To see them to be in house for this to happen is just a great feeling all around. But the series itself was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, what a cap off to the season. You couldn't ask for a better ending.
I agree. Something, and like, I know as soon as, like, literally as soon as the clock struck 0000, if you pulled up Twitter, every tweet on my timeline, apart from, the actual WNBA saying congrats, whatever they put out, like from pages like that, but from like fan wise, people that actually watch the W, every tweet, I kid you not, was about the refs, was about this game's going to have an asterisk, this championship's going to have an asterisk by it. Like you even had LeBron talking about how
jumped in
that
there.
wasn't a foul, like that shouldn't have been called, like
I tweeted it immediately. I did the same thing. I was like, nope, that was not a foul. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
So I have the Lynx presser pulled up, and their head coach just goes in, like, she brings it up several times, different things. Like, she, even during the presser, she throws shots at the Aces, she throws shots at the Liberty, talking about fees. She get the credit because she's the face of the league, like. So I'm gonna play a few little clips. One thing I do agree with her on is at the beginning, when now she's not as heated, like when it first starts. So this is like the most mild she's going to be. But she talks about how, because this foul, like she even challenged it, and the refs reviewed it and still came back and said, no, it was a foul. So she was saying, like, there should be a third party. And like we talked about this with the NFL all the time. And it seemed like for the first couple games, they were getting better about it, but I haven't heard nothing about it since. Like that they always talk about New York, like when we talked about this, like, oh, a call came in from New York and changed the play because the refs got it wrong. Like there has to be somebody above the actual refs that are on the floor that can be watching and say, no, like you got this wrong, especially, like if it's a blowout freaking game, regular season, like who gives a shit, right? But when you're in the finals and you're in a 2-point game or a tie game or whatever the hell it was, and these 2 shots that she's going to take is going to be for the freaking win, like you have to do a better fucking job. And it shouldn't go to the same people that called it to then fucking review it. Like you're asking the same dumbasses that just called it wrong to admit that they were dumbasses in the first place. They don't want to do that. Like, even no matter what they're seeing, especially on the biggest stage, like they're not going to say, oh, we got it wrong. Like they hardly ever will fucking admit when they got it wrong, even though the rest of America is watching and can see they got it wrong. Like, and so I can just imagine, like, being the head coach, like, especially even being the Lynx players, like, you have worked so hard for this, and like, you're not asking for them to do some fucking magic. Like, you're just asking, like, however you're going to call it on one side, call it the same exact on the other side. And the thing is that it wasn't just this game. The game 4, it was the Liberty coach in there at the press conference bitching about that the Lynx got all the calls and, you know, like that it wasn't called fairly. And she said the same thing. Sandy said, I just want it to be called the same. If you're going to call, you know, whatever you're calling on this side, call it the same on this side. If you're not going to call it on this side, don't call it on this side. And then it was like either game 3 or game 2 or one of those that the Lynx head coach is back in there again, complaining about the same exact thing. And the kids just saying the same shit. We just want it to be called fairly. Like, why are you know, when a game is so close, why are you putting your fucking 2 cents to change the outcome of a game? You know, like, let the players play. Like, let the players decide what the hell is happening on the court. So it's just nasty that, you know, it went to review and everything and they still got it wrong. So let me share this. And so what she says here about, you know, like just a third party person, like they should. I mean, like in the digital year of 2024, like it's digital. It's like video so readily available, you know, like why is this still a thing? Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah. You can have someone at home looking at this stuff. Like, you don't even have to be there nowadays.
Get me, I'll do it. Shit. Right here. And it's funny, real quick, you know, before I play this, and I'm gonna stop it and then Ty, I'll let you talk as then I find the other parts of the video. But it's funny because even in this spot, like she wasn't asked about the refs or whatever about this, but she just inserts it in there. And then later on in the conversation, in the questioning, and I was talking to Ty about this before we went live, it's like they would ask her about a player or whatever, and she's like, yeah, that player's great, but you know, those refs, all blah, 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 you know, like everything somehow just made its way back to that, you know. So here's this part.
Obviously, there's always going to be a team that's going to be a little more disappointed than the other. I thought today was incredibly disappointing. The challenge, we have got to change our challenge rules, and the officials doing the game should have a third party, because that was not a foul. That call should have been reversed on that challenge. If we sent that clip in, well, first of all, Nafisa Collier, the number of times that she's held, et cetera, and there's nothing down that end, right? Which we, you know, it's kind of, you know, for whatever reason in the series, that was kind of the way it was. But when at the other end, when we challenged it, if we would have turned that clip in, they would have told us that it was marginal contact, no foul. Guaranteed. So when you review, those should be the same parameters that you're reviewing with. But the 3 people that are on the game need a third party to let them know, because that decided the game. That decided the game.
Thoughts on that, Ty?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, we all know the officiating in WNBA just can be flat out bad at times, especially for the road team. I mean, let's not forget that game with the Aces and the Wings in Dallas earlier this year, where 2 people hit Asia Wilson in the face and no foul was called. She's there bleeding. She's literally bleeding, and there's no foul called. I mean, that's how terrible the officiating can be, especially for the road team. And it's like, listen, call it fairly or don't call it at all, because we want this game to be called right, especially on the obvious stuff, you know. So this series, of course, it had a bunch of that back and forth. What made this one so bad is that it's game 5. It's at the end of the game. This is for the championship. And you blow a call, but it's challenged. So you go and review it. Now, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can clearly see that that was not a foul. It just wasn't. Not at all. Right? We're not even going to get into the fact that Stewie walked before any of that even happened. She took 4 steps. So there should have been a travel there. But the foul, they blew it. But when they blow a call, they can overturn it and say, hey, there's no foul, jump ball. It could have been, it should have been as simple as that. But for some reason, they let it go. I don't know why. It was the weirdest thing. Maybe because they wanted to see this thing go to overtime and do whatever. So be it. But it was bad. That was really, really bad on the part of the officiating to have that happen in such a huge moment. We're talking about the culmination of the season. All eyes are on this one moment, this one event, and they absolutely blew it. It's like refs blowing the call in the Super Bowl. How? How does that happen? So yeah, so maybe in the regular season you don't have a third party, but perhaps during playoffs, the finals, maybe there should be one to say, hey, we got to get this right. This is championships on the line, not just a win or a loss, first game of the season. This is for the big one. So let's get it right. And it's unfair to all players involved that this happened.
Yeah. And then for those, out there listening that aren't aware, the head coach of the Lynx, she's also the GM as well. So, when she says like, if we sent that call in, I guarantee it that, it would have came back like this. Like, she's been in the league forever, right? As a GM, as a head coach, like she sent her fair share of calls, had sent on her team, whatnot. Like, this has been a thing forever, against refs. So when she's like, even though obviously, there's more feelings and more emotions and everything attached for this, like, I kind of like want to just side like with her anyways on that. Like I think she kind of knows and what to expect like by now on, okay, this is what they're going to say about this. This is what, like, we're not going to waste our time sending this in because we know they're going to say this, or, you learn the way people work doing this forever. Right. So yeah. And then another thing, I'm not going to play it, but we talk about this, and like, I think even last episode, or maybe the episode before that, I have brought up how Fee, like, is so nice, and like always, like, even in her press conference, like, she never gets very riled or anything, right? So for her, and in this press conference, obviously she's upset, right? Just lost the finals, everything. And even Kayla McBride spoke more like than Fee did. Like, Fee hardly said anything during the whole thing, and then like when she does speak, like, she's not going to just, like, she's not going to go in on the refs or nothing like that. Like, that's just not her character. Right. So for her in this press conference, like, for her to say, like, they asked her, something about like, oh, your shots were falling, or you're something in the first half, what happened in the second half? And she even like, and she caught herself and like changed her answer afterwards, but she says, well, it's hard to make shots when you have people draped all over you and holding you, or something like that, and then she like oh, like, you could tell, like, caught herself like, oh shit, did I say that right? Like, but like, that's how bad it is, like. And we talk about this all the time, like, people, and we even brought this up when Hamby like had thrown shots at Asia, like, oh, I wish I had Asia's whistle. And it's like, well, become as good, like, put in your time, be as good as Asia, and your whistle would be as good like Asia's, right? Well, the thing is that Fee is like one of those superstars that hardly ever gets the calls that she deserves. And series, like, I don't know, and it's not like she doesn't, like, I don't know, it's so weird because, like, you have bigs that are like soft, right? Like even though they're big and they should be in the paint, like there's somebody specifically that like I have right on the tip of my tongue, and I know I brought this person up to you in a show before, but I can't think of who it is now. But even in the NBA, the same thing. Like you have these bigs that are supposed to be the toughest, big bullies out there, yet they don't get rebounds, they don't like nothing because they're pussies, right? Like, and it's just like you have all that size, put it to use, do what you're supposed to do. Like that's what you're playing basketball for. Like, oh, like we just draft you because you're tall just to fucking stand there and be tall. Like, Brittany Griner, for example, like you're so big, like you're the biggest one on the court every single night, and yet you're the softest one 75% of the time. Like it just doesn't make sense, right? So like Fee's not that though. So as much as she's nice and she hardly shit talks and like that, she's not like a pussy. Like I wouldn't say, oh, she's too scared to like she drives into the paint. So it's not like she's not doing that stuff that where the whistles usually get called, so there's no reason why she's not getting these calls. Like there's times where she's going up for a lay and freaking ends up, getting pushed down on the ground when every other superstar would get that freaking whistle at that point. And no, Fee's there like picking her body up off the ground, putting her pieces back together to carry on, because they're not calling the whistle. And it's just like I said, as somebody that has like I could care less, one way or the other who would have won. It's just like the whole thing is just you just want a good, fair basketball game, like leave it up to the players to decide the outcome of the game in any freaking sport, any sport.
Yeah.
I hate when the refs have to freaking just put their freaking bullshit in there. And now this instead of somebody celebrating, of course, all New York, they could care less, right? They're still celebrating their shit. They don't give a shit. But the rest of the WNBA world, this is what we're talking about instead of, the champion. Like we're all talking about, oh, the refs, this and this and that. And, it's just like, unfortunate.
How they blew it.
That's sports. So let me play this clip. And then I'll have one more after this where she really goes in at the end. What's up, Daniel Barry, Steve-O, Niakila?
Hey.
What up, what up? All right.
Show the heart of a champion all season, no matter what the result was. So I want to ask you how you really enjoyed this team, really cherished this team. What was your message to them in this locker room throughout this feat? And for you, Kayla, you playing with this team, with how they've loved your energy all season and enjoyed your leadership, your thoughts on playing with this team all season and how you feel that you showed the championship spirit regardless of the result.
I share with them exactly what you said. Incredibly proud that, since the day we got together in training camp all the way through the end, we were the same team. We never got the disease of me. Not one single player on the team got the disease of me. Not one. Those that were maybe in the rotation, fell out of the rotation, some that never got to play. No one ever put themselves on. That is incredibly difficult to find in this day and age. So I'm really, really proud. I'm incredibly proud of the number of people that were impacted by Lynx basketball and how excited they were to watch our team play. It was. I told them it's who they are as people, how they did it. So those are things that we talked about, and I wouldn't trade them for anyone, any team. Do things the right way. Built a team within the rules. Those sort of things that maybe right now aren't happening in our league, and did it the hard way. You know what? We gave hope to those teams that aren't willing to circumvent the cap or
shots fired at the Aces.
Fly illegally
and Liberty.
Shots fired at the Liberty.
The last 5 years, right? And do it the right way. It gives hope for those other teams that you can build a team just like ours. You don't have to have a super team, right? You don't have to have that. There's a different way to do it. So I'm incredibly proud of them.
Next two questions will come from the second.
Like, bitch. Like, they didn't ask you to throw no shots at the last friggin' champion, back-to-back champions. Or the other team that just beat your ass, like, sit there and take your ass whooping, bitch. Like, what the hell?
Cheryl throwing strays at everybody. She don't care. Look at Kayla trying not to laugh.
Circumfronting the whatever, whatever the cap and flying illegally. Like,
Flying
I don't
illegally.
care if my team needs me to freaking get out there and give them a piggyback ride to the fucking stadium so they don't have to freaking go in a fly cramp plane. I'm going to do it. Okay. So if you're not doing the same for your team, sorry about it. Freaking bitch.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Thoughts on that real quick while I find this other clip.
It's just hilarious. She was funny. You know, they did to build a team, right? Built it from scratch, the draft, free agency, all that good stuff. Didn't try to put together a super team. Yeah. So, you know, you got to give her hats off to her. And like we talked about it, how they just have a team full of scrappers, and she tends to go to her bench and throw everybody in there and just find a way to win. It's kind of rare and kind of beautiful at the same time. So, you know, hats off to her. I don't think she had to throw shots at people though, but I understand she was frustrated, and she's like, "Fuck it, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody down." So yeah, circumventing the cap, yes, you know, that's shots at the Liberty and the Aces. We know that the flights, that's directly at the Liberty, because we know what Joseph Tsai did. He was like, "Hey, but you know what? Hats off to Joseph Tsai for doing it."
Yeah,
because having these teams
get all this shit.
Yeah, having them cramped up on freaking flights and waiting, and having flights get canceled and them not making games and all that crap. He was like, "Nah, not my team. I'm getting them a plane," and did it himself. And that's what a good owner is supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of your team. At the end of the game yesterday, you heard Clara Rusai say, "Hey, when we brought the team, we wanted to invest in them and give them the best facilities and the best of everything." And they meant it. And we talked about this shows back when we talked about how these newer owners have been investing in their teams, getting them newer training facilities and all the good stuff that they deserve.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. I wouldn't want my owner to be like, "What? This bullshit is happening?"
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of this, and then do it. And that's great. You know? Yeah. And what made it real funny is that Joseph Tsai actually flew them to a vacation one time. I know that's what made the league real mad.
Yeah.
Because he was like, "Hold up, y'all need a break. Let me fly y'all somewhere." And then flew him back. And I know that pissed the league off. But hey, that's what a good owner does. You take care of your players. Look at the fruits of their labor at the end of the day. It all comes together.
Yeah, and I've never been one like that agrees with the whole super team thing, you know, and that's something that I pride, you know, the fact that Vegas was able to win back-to-back championships with, you know, half that team, most of that team was drafted, you know, like, yeah, we had to go get Chelsea Gray and like fill in, you know, a couple bench pieces, but like those, you know, the rest of our starting five like had been drafted here. Like, so like I get that whole thing, but you know, like I also get why the Liberty did what they did. Like when you have a team that seems like they're so far at the top dominating the sport, like you know, if you just sit there and draft, you could be there waiting another 5-10 freaking years. Like you have to hit on those next 3-4 number one draft picks, you know, in order to do what Vegas did. Like we had back to back number one fucking draft picks. We had to be ass, you know, to get to where we're at right now. Like, so like I understand, like you don't have the time, you know, or any of that. So like you go out, you get the stars. They did what they had to do to get everybody there. They even talked about it during the presser yesterday that Jonquel Jones was the first one that spearheaded the whole thing. And you know, she helped get we there. She helped get everybody to come there, right? And so like I'm mad at it either at the same time. Like even though that's not like I wouldn't choose to have my team, you know, work like that. Like I understand. The next thing with the whole cap bullshit, number one, get you a fucking city that actually likes your team. Okay. Like, don't us because like Las Vegas is doing shit for our players. That other, like we talked about this when they first started this investigation, like tell these other cities step their shit up, like step your game up, support your team. Like, why are you mad at us? Because our city is going above and beyond to take care of our players, like you should be happy. Like you should want these girls taken care of, and then like we're able to keep these players because our girls went up there and said, we're taking a pay cut. Asia could be the highest paid star in this league. However, she went and said, no, I'll take a pay cut so that we're able to pay Jackie, so that we're able to pay Chelsea, so that we're able to pay every freaking buddy that we get and keep, like that. They all decided to do that. Like Jackie is one of the highest paid girls in the league. Like everybody else took a pay cut so that could happen. So Jackie could stay here. Like they're doing that shit to make it happen. So like, why are you throwing shots at us? Like get your team to do the same shit. Like you could be doing that. Your city could be giving them sponsors and these different, things above and beyond what, but they don't. So sorry for you. Like, be mad at your own people.
Yeah. Poor Cheryl.
Cheryl's getting it tonight.
Poor Cheryl.
Last thing. So here, it's funny because Cheryl was asked about Sabali. And she turns this in. And she says right here, she knew what the headlines were going to be. So you asked for it, Cheryl. You got it. Here we go. She looks like she just had a fucking enough.
Yeah. You can tell at this point she had enough. Like enough is enough. Just right there. You can see like she's like, I'm over this shit.
That's me when I'm driving my daughter to work. Like, all right.
Cheryl Niara came in and was great for them tonight. What did she do things differently, or was it just more that
she was tremendous in the playoffs? Niara Sabali was tremendous in the playoffs. Really gave them a lift every single time she got minutes, and not surprised that they went big. It's crazy how the series ended, right? For 4 games, it was about the three ball. Certainly offensive rebounds throughout the whole thing. But then tonight came down to points in the paint. We don't even score in the paint. We had 44 was it? Right. So it was really interesting how the series ended, with them playing bigger. They won the game with their defense, no doubt about it, with their defense. And but anyway, to your question, Sabali was her minutes were really good, really helped them. I know all the headlines will be Reeve cries foul. Bring it on, right? Bring it on, because this shit was stolen from us. Bring it on.
Shit was stolen.
Well, we talked about it, we know we could have done some things, right? But you shouldn't have to overcome to that extent. This shit ain't that hard. Officiating it's not that hard. When someone is being held, be consistent. If you don't want to hold it one end, don't call it the other. Be consistent. Every team asked for that, right? Sandy asked for that last game. So 3 of the games in the series, we're talking about the same damn thing, right? So I tell these guys, for whatever reason it didn't work out, right? It just doesn't feel right that you lose a series with that level of discrepancy, and we don't have a team that whines and complains and, all that stuff. And, sometimes it probably hurts us, maybe being a little more, I don't know, something. But I just think that, you have a star player like Fee,
When she says that we don't have a team that whines and cries, the first thought that comes to my mind is, and even in this game it happened, where Sabrina was like barely hit, like barely even touched, and you just seen her like jerk back, like flop onto the floor, like. And we talked about that before, the aces, like their players will hardly be flopping, and yet you will play these teams, New York being one of them, that is always freaking flopping, you know, and it's just so fucking annoying because it's like these refs, like, you haven't learned by now. Like, you see the shit happening in the NBA, and I think the same thing. Like, you guys haven't caught on to the shit by now. Like, you can't tell, like, what is like a genuine like fall and like what is so exaggerated. Like come the fuck on, you know, like, it's just so annoying. And so at some points, and I heard that I haven't heard the actual clip myself, but I heard that there's a clip going around. And I didn't catch it when it happened.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. She told him to go down. She told him to flop.
Yeah.
She's literally in the timeout.
Right? Yeah.
She's literally in timeout coaching them. Like, after she tells them to play, she's like, and then flop, go down, try to draw foul. She's literally telling them that. And it's like, wow, this is part of your strategy. So it's not just us fans that were like saying this, making this up. Like, you know, they're literally coached to do it. Okay.
That's just sick.
Justified. Yeah, it's sick. It's terrible.
And then, like, I can't imagine what Cheryl's gonna be like after she hears that clip of Sandy. She's gonna be calling her every name but Sandy.
Yep. We ain't friends now. Exactly.
I don't get how she can be held and go to the basket and get hit, and then a marginal, at best, sends their best player to the free throw line. That's tough. It's tough to swallow. Just like our 2016 championship that was lost, officiating, you know, missing a shot clock violation. This sucks. This is for a championship, right? For both teams, let them decide it. What contact is legal should be the same for both teams. This isn't that hard. And so it's disappointing. You know, I mean, congratulations to the Liberty on their first championship. Been around, I don't know, how long has the league been around? 28 years? It took them 28 years. Congrats to them. You know, we were that close to our fifth. Just didn't happen. Right?
She is shooting.
She didn't
with
need to
a
say
full
how long
clip.
this league been around. Congrats to them on getting their first. We're close to our fifth.
That is when you do not care.
God.
That is when you do not care.
Shit ain't that hard.
Man. I gotta make a GIF of that. I gotta use that because that is gold.
Like this lady there being the head coach and the GM of a WNBA team.
Oh man.
Telling the refs like this shit ain't that hard.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Brilliant.
I was cracking up when I was listening to that.
Yeah.
I know. Like I thought, like, so, of course the Liberty fans, you know, they're online hating on her and all this shit, but as much as like I hate hearing coaches get in there and like cry about and bitch about, like, you know, stuff that you can't even control, you know. But at the same time, it's like this has been a season-long issue with these refs. Like, not even just this season. I shouldn't even say that, but specifically, obviously, more eyes, more everything, you know, is magnified, right? So even the refs screwing up is more magnified because, you know, there's more eyes, there's more people seeing it.
Yeah.
But it's like something has to be said. You know, the players, they can't say anything because they get fined, right? Like they're hardly making any money as it is. And then you're getting fined, you know, like your entire game day check. And the coaches, they too they get fined as well. And you know, damn right, she's going to get a fine. She has a fine coming. It'll be announced, but somebody has to, you know, and there's not very many people more powerful than she is in this league right now. So, you know, if somebody has to say it, you might as well get somebody in there like Cheryl Reeves to sit there and give it to them. Like, it has to be done, you know, like I hate the excuses and everything, like I said, but this has been an ongoing issue and you're not asking for too much, right? Like this is your job. Do it fairly. Like there should be no bias. There should be, oh no, this team hasn't won a championship yet. So cap These showed up in a New York Jets dress, ready for him to win the championship. But so we had the fixes in. Like there shouldn't be people questioning this shit. Like it shouldn't happen. It's just frustrating. And not even my fucking team. Like I said, not even my team. I could care less who wins. And it still frustrates me that this is how the game ends up being decided.
It's just being a fan of the sport, a fan of just seeing good competitive basketball, and this series being as good as it was come down to that. It's like, oh, really? Is that really what they're going to do? It's like, come on, that's BS. Like, just let it, just at least get it right. Like it was challenged. Okay, this is your opportunity to get it right. This is what the system was built for.
Yeah.
And like everybody and their mama is looking at this, tweeting out the same thing. Like that ain't no foul. Like LeBron James supposed to be
had
practicing.
she not had a challenge to challenge it, or had she not challenged it, not used her challenge, then it would have come down to her. She would have been fucked up. They could have overturned it. But then it's like, no, like she has the challenge, she does everything right, and they still end up screwing her no matter what.
And
it's
they're they just come back and see the ref, doing his in the camera thing, like, okay, the call stands and it's a
I
foul.
hate when they can put their fucking ugly ass face so
because they're all up close, like
camera, like, oh my god, like I can see your nose hairs.
Like, back that ish up, exactly. And it's the worst camera ever. It's not like it's like something out the high school, VA room. Like, what is going on? Oh man. But it's just totally screwed up.
What makes it even that much worse, I think, is because the first half of the game, when it was actually being officiated correctly and evenly, the Lynx were winning by a large margin. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they go to halftime, they come back, the refs are on some new bullshit, and the Liberty come and take the game. Like, like they took that lead and gone. Like
whistle, all Liberties. It was all their way too.
Yeah.
And that's another frustrating thing, because like I'm on her side on that one. Like, Fee's down low, she's banging with Stewie, she's banging with Jonquel, and she's getting hacked and double teamed and nothing. Just nothing.
Like, how many shots did she take yesterday? One?
It's like she got to get up, pick herself up off the ground every time, and just walk away like nothing happened, like it's okay. And it's like, wow, all right, that's how you gonna do Fee? Like, that's the runner-up for MVP, defensive player of the year, blah blah blah. Okay, well,
did she even? I think she took one.
Who's
free
that?
Throw yesterday? Fee.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Where is it? I had it a second ago. None. She didn't go to the line once.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah. She go to the line once. And it's not like she plays on the outside jacking up threes either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, she's down low, cutting to the basket, posting up, this and that. I mean, she wasn't fouled on one attempt. She didn't go over fouled once while they were in the bonus. Are you serious?
And there was that time she would have 3 girls on her. Like, you're telling me
nothing?
It was clean the entire game? Like,
she wasn't hacked one time? Yeah.
And like she had even said, like they were literally holding her the second half of the game, and she wasn't getting called. Like she couldn't even move her arms up to shoot.
It's unreal.
Yeah, crazy. Let me see if I had anything else. Man, like it makes like even with I think with the refs, like the Lynx probably could have still won despite all of that had they had a guard that showed up.
Like any other player this was the game that was the straight up like anomaly game where
Very-
like normally they're like kind of even across the board where you're going to get like Fee's going to do her thing and like maybe Kayla McBride or Bridget Carlton or somebody else does their thing and or Courtney Williams, and then everyone else gives you a good 8 to 14 points in there. They all contribute though, right? They all pour into this and it's a collective. Well, this game, the collective wasn't there.
right.
Nafisa Collier did her thing. Kayla McBride do it. They even interviewed Kayla McBride during the game. And she's like, man, I'm doing what I got to do to win.
Mhm.
It's game 5. So if that means, taking it to the hole or shooting a jump shot, I'm going to do what I got to do to win. And she did that. But Courtney Williams' shot was totally off.
4
Normally
points.
her mid-range is like money. It wasn't. Alana Smith was beat to all hell. The fact that she even made it through that game is a miracle in itself because she was beat up. And when she went down, I didn't think she was going to come back. The way she was holding her back.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
she was already out there limping before that. So, hats off to her for even just gutting it out.
And she still played 36 minutes, like
Yeah.
somehow.
And went to the bench, had a little breather, and then was right back out there. It was like, wow, this means she wants it. This is
Yeah.
going for it. So that and Bridget Carlton, who normally makes big shots. I think that's the one thing they did kind of bad. They didn't run any plays for her to get her some shots because she's the one person that can kind of get hot from 3 and start burying. And when she made one late in the game, I was like, okay, maybe that's the start. But they never kind of went back to her until the
Her
end of the
only shot.
game when
She
they
had
tried
3
to
points.
they tried to run the play for her to take the step back 3 to kind of hit it and tie it up. It was like you should have been doing this earlier in the game.
Mhm.
Like try to get her going, make her be the third option instead of like someone else who clearly the other players didn't have it. So I think that was ultimately, the Lynx Achilles heel. Like they only had 2 players show up. But the weird thing is on the Liberty side, their main 2 didn't show up at all.
Yeah, I know.
Like Stewie and Sabrina was out there bricking it up. They couldn't hit nothing.
Oh my God.
She couldn't hit nothing. None. 0.
And
Zip.
she multiple games like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everybody made a big deal about that,
The 3
game winning 3, whatever. But that
Right.
entire game, even prior to that, she was cold.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah, she did not have it this series. Stewie didn't have it. I mean, Stewie did a bunch of the other things, rebounding and trying to defend. Like she stayed after it, but her shot was completely off. And like the second to last time she shot the free throw, she missed them both.
I know.
She missed both.
I
She
couldn't
bricked
fucking
them
believe it.
both. It was like, wow. Like that was something. But John Quell did her thing. The only Fee bitch had a quiet 13. She played well. And Nara Sabali, she wound up coming off the bench, being the hero, doing her thing. And remember, she was a player that was injured most of the season, just like her sister, those Sabali sisters. They were injured most of the season.
Mean, so far, most of her career going back all the way through college, that's been her story, remember, like the Liberty drafted her and she had to sit out her entire rookie season because she was hurt.
Yeah.
So she's been, and like she hardly even plays very many minutes, and
she plays
like
very
they
seldom.
talked
It's
about
a
it
few
during
minutes.
the presser, that Sandy told her at halftime, when we come out of half, we're going big, so we're gonna need you.
Yeah, they went big, and she stayed that way.
That's her notice, and like even the other girls during the presser said, like for her to stay ready like that, she was huge for them. Like they all gave her credit, during the presser. So, I thought that was pretty cool. And then, like we said earlier, obviously, the entire Barclays Center, like erupted in
Oh,
chants of her
erupted
name.
for her. Yeah. And I knew
And
Satu would be there. I knew she was there
yeah, I
somewhere.
love
They
that.
didn't show her at all, which I think is criminal.
In her white
I
tee.
hate when they do that. Like they always do this thing on TV where they show the people in the house and all that.
Yeah.
And there's freaking like they'll be current WNBA stars in attendance.
They showed
at a
Angel like 10
game.
times.
Yeah, they showed Angel 10 times
Can't
because you
show
know.
Savali.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't show Shatu. Like, come on. Like she's chump change. Like, come on. Like, it's crazy. But I knew she would be there, and to see her run out there at the end, give her sister a big old hug. It was great. That was great to see. That was a great family moment.
And during the presser, when they asked the little Sabali about, oh, now you have one up on your sister, you were a champion first, how does that feel or whatever. And she said that, like my sister's been in my corner. She's, my biggest support. She's like, I didn't just win this for me. I won this for us both. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And she's been there throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like this isn't the first time she's been there. I remember seeing her in round 1. She was there. Like, oh wow. She's there supporting her sister. That's very cool.
Yep.
And she's been there throughout. So yeah, you can tell their bond. They're tight as heck. Like it was beautiful to see. And I'm happy for them. And yeah, and you're already recruiting both of them, I see. So
Satu was already there. She was wearing her Aces uniform already in her white tee. So
you're gonna have Cheryl Reeves taking shots at you next. People out recruiting on the internet.
I shoot back. I'm not just some stupid ref. I shoot back. So you better watch out, Cheryl.
You got people recruiting on the internet.
Yep. So he's saying the Aces are doing illegal recruiting.
Yep. You got podcasters out there recruiting players. We trying to do it the right way.
I do love though that first let me talk about real quick one last thing about Sabrina is that so many of her fans like wanted her to show up in this final series so bad, because if you can remember last final series against the Aces, her viral moment wasn't because she played great or anything. It was because she was throwing up in the trash can before the game. So everybody said that she couldn't take the moment. The moment was too big for her, all this. And now this year you get into the finals and completely go cold, like nowhere when your team needed you the most. So like, I don't know. But I don't know. Very strange. Like I said, she took that game-winning shot, and people forgot about the game she had prior to that. But like this was almost, I think, one game this series. I think she had decent numbers, and then other than that, it was just like, what the hell?
It was a bad shooting. Yeah.
And then like even Stewie, like that's why I was like so wondering, like I was hoping that they did the right thing and would give the MVP to JJ, because she truly deserved it. Like, I was hoping that, Kathy wasn't going to do some dirty shit and just try to give it to Stewie because she's the New York, girl, or, Sabrina because she's supposed to be the face of the team or whatever bullshit, because we see those awards do some crazy shit sometimes. Like we've seen Steph get robbed from the awards on the NBA side, so I know it's possible. But they did the right thing, gave it to JJ because she's the only one that showed up every single game.
She's the most consistent.
Like
she's most consistent every game. Just quietly out there doing her job. So I'm so happy she got it. You can tell her teammates were happy for her. They were all jumping up down, celebrating with her. And, we talked about this at the beginning of the season, how, Jonquel Jones was a former MVP, 6th player. Like, she's no slouch.
Yeah.
So it was very cool to see her get the award she deserved, because without her, they ain't winning it.
No. And when
They were
Cheryl
not
was
winning it.
asked how come, like, what did JJ do to be able to, you know, consistently go after them like every night or whatever, and she pretty much said, well, you know, they have so many stars, like you can only guard so many people, like, so like we took away, like she says they took away Stewie and Sabrina, that's why they had bad nights, but
Mhm.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But
John
she's
Claw's just
basically
too
saying
big.
like, yeah, you play defense
Yeah.
on those, like you had to pick your poison, like you had to,
Yeah.
one of them, you know, was going to go off. It's like, well, after you seen that JJ, that those two couldn't shoot worth of shit, and that JJ was going after your ass every night, wouldn't you think that you'd switch the defense to her and
Yeah. Start
like,
double teaming her or something?
yeah, like have one of the other ones,
Yeah.
you know, like I
Yeah.
don't know.
She was the one hurting you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's
But
Dorca
don't
is the
switch the
only
defense to
person
her.
they had. Yeah, Dorca is the only person they had big enough to be able to deal with her. And you gave her limited minutes. Like she got out there when Atlanta Smith got hurt. That was it. So, you know,
Yeah.
you had to deal with it. You had to deal with it.
Liberty in that size. And then I just
Yeah.
talked about how, you know, they told us at halftime, the coach tells them we're going big the second half. Like, you're already big.
I know you're already big.
And
You're
even
already
when
big.
they said that in the presser, even Sabali like was shaking her head and she's like, man, because they said that lineup that they started the second half with, those five, that was the first time that those five had been on the floor together.
Yeah. They never used
at
them
all
before.
this season. Like never before had those
Never.
five played together.
Yeah.
And so Sabali even shook her head and was like, yeah, that's a lot of size. Like that's a big five out there, you know.
That's a big five.
Maybe that was too. You like, I
Yeah.
don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, like how tall is Sabrina?
Like
I think Sabrina's like
freaking-
6 feet.
Yeah,
6'1",
Stewie's reach,
something like that.
swears, like
Yeah,
she's long.
she's just ridiculous.
Mhm.
She got that 7-inch wingspan. Yeah, Sabrina's 5'11", right?
So she was the shortest one out there. Then.
She was the smallest one out there, but everyone else was 6'4" and over.
Whew, that's
Think about
crazy.
that. So your second shortest person is 6'4". Then you're going 6'5", 6'6", 6'6". So when they went big, they went big. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Wow. And then the Lynx, they're so short, you know.
I know.
They have like the shortest guards I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, what's that? Heidelman? What's her name? That girl, she's so short. Like, what's her name? Hyman.
Natasha
Yeah.
Hyman. Yeah.
She looks so tiny. Like she literally
Mhm.
looks like she's 100 pounds, like
I
a
know.
little teenager kid out there. I
Yep.
swear. Like every time she's out there, especially when she's next to these giants, like it just makes her look like a little kid. I'm just like, oh my god, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. She's 5'8".
Wow.
She's 5'8". Look how small she is. How short she is.
But wow. To be 5'8" and be a professional basketball player is pretty amazing all in itself. Like, wow.
She's 5'8".
McNiner says, I'd be a midget standing next to them.
Yeah.
How tall are you,
You're not the only
McNiner?
one. We're the same height. So we're like 5'8". So yeah.
What's that? James says the
What's
same
up,
refs
James?
worked the Indiana Fever screw job in the first round. Yeah, these refs, like, ugh.
Refs are just bad all season long. We
Are they
know
the
that.
same in the WNBA like they are for other sports where it's like not their full-time job, and or do they like actually get paid? And
I don't
like,
know.
how does-
I should look that up. Because they
'Cause-
use the same refs. It's the same ones out there. But I don't know if they're full-time gig or what. I gotta look into that.
like
I
they
don't
need
know
to
how it
just
works.
fire all the current refs, hire younger ones that actually can see, and then actually pay them decently, and maybe they'll actually try to do their jobs better. Like, I don't know. But like this is like a thing across all sports, you know, basketball, football, baseball. Like the refs are just ass. Like I just don't understand it. Like you got one fucking job. Do it. Like
Yeah.
it's
You
not
see
that
it, call
hard,
it.
Cheryl said.
Yep. This shit ain't that hard.
Let
Oh,
me
my
bring
bad,
it up.
David. 5'8" and 3/8. That's right. Don't shortchange us.
The shit ain't that hard.
The player's still looking down at us.
5'8". Dang.
True story. I was in Barclays once, and the floor is already kind of off level from the seats. By the way, my seats were third row back, and Kelsey Plum comes over, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, Kelsey, don't hurt him too bad out there. Don't hurt him too bad out there today. And she looks over and she goes, no promises, little fella. I was like, damn, why you got throwing the little fella? Now I'm already
my
feeling
God.
small. But shout out to her. She's cool.
Small kings need love too. It's okay.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. At least I can stand next to the basketball players and not feel short. So, and shit, I'll even make some of them feel short their own self. So they better watch out.
You could have been part of that Liberty big lineup. Be
Yep.
going big. Lee, get out there. Oh shit. Okay.
So let me pull up. Was gonna show you guys this picture. I thought this was pretty funny. So, we talked all season about obviously Bam and Asia being in their secret relationship, and they thought they were hiding it from the world, even though we all already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like ever since Bam had got the key to his city, and like that lady had snitched on him saying Asia was there and all this, like everything has been more pretty open about it. Even like the Miami Heat page is always posting about like different stuff about Asia and all this stuff, right? So today, let me pull out this tweet that comes up because this was pretty cute how slickly they tried to do this. And Asia, a lot of the basketball players have been like taking a break off of online, I guess. And she even she was part of the, I don't even know what that interview. Did you see like she did some interview today, and like even Kathy was there, some of the Liberty players was there, Ellie was there.
Wow.
The NBA Kathy, whatever his name is, that guy.
Yeah.
He was there. But I only saw clips of it, so I haven't seen what it was. But so she was out for that, and then came back online and ended up tweeting a response to this. Let me show you all this. It's pretty funny. And so slick how these pages, and then we're going to get out of here. Look how these pages do stuff now. Like you're snitching on somebody's life here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I can make this bigger. All right.
There you go.
So if you guys see over here in this mirror, here's Bam, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the reflection
Oh,
of the
wow.
mirror. So look, he's wearing the Aces 22 jersey, and then has his heart hands around the 22.
Over the 22, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But look how like you got this like the coffee cup face over here, like so many like different little slick things they put in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, oh my god, they put him in an Aces jersey. So
I know.
Asia retweets that with this. So yeah, here's somebody blew it up. Bam in the Age of Aces jersey, throwing the heart up.
It's fun that they're having fun with
they're
it.
so slick about it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's too funny.
So yeah, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Nah, just
Angel, I don't know what the hell you're in here bitching about. Like, what the hell?
No.
You haven't even listened to the show, and you're in here talking shit. Like, we didn't talk shit about any of your freaking players. So, like, what the hell are you going off about?
Yeah, it's just a fun series. Great end to the season. What a great season it was. Can't wait for next year. But even before then, we got Unrivaled and AU. So it's going to be a good off season. We got a lot to talk about, and next week we got to talk about CBA and all that good stuff. So stick around, folks. We aren't going anywhere.
Yep. Angel, you won't stick around
Deuces,
because your ass
sucker.
is out of here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dumbass. Like, people are get so like defensive. Like, he's a Caitlin Clark fan. Nobody even said shit about Caitlin Clark. Like,
Didn't mention her.
not
Also.
even mentioned her fucking name this entire episode.
Didn't mention the fever, her, nothing. But
Fucking weird.
that's the way her supporters are, as we know. So
This is the first thing we had said about the fever was when I read James's comment, and that's literally the only sentence that was mentioned about the fever or any of their players. So very weird, very weird. But yeah, I'm posting. I'm going to those that are on X, Twitter that want to enter. I'm going to be posting a giveaway for the Aces rally towel.
Nice.
As well as this Jackie Young card to go with it. So it'll be a little duo giveaway. So yeah, I'll be posting that probably later on this evening. So if you guys are on X, Twitter, whatever you call it these days, and you want to enter, make sure you keep your eye for it. And yeah, Ty and I will be back next week. Same time, same place to talk about women's basketball. Now that WNBA is over, like Ty said, we'll be moving on to the other leagues and what the girls got going on.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll find some stuff to talk about. Again, congrats to the Liberty, even congrats to the Lynx for
the Lynx too. Awesome season.
Yep.
Awesome series.
Yep.
Played their
making it
hearts
go
out.
5 games. Like, I can't next season, this series is going to be 7 games. So
I know,
like, I wouldn't have been surprised had this series, had this been this time next year, this series would have went 7 games, like, so yeah. We'll be back tomorrow to talk 49ers losers. And my guy broke my heart that he's out for the season. So we'll get into that tomorrow at 3 Pacific time. We'll be back tomorrow. So yeah, we appreciate everybody that's rocked out with us this entire WNBA season. It's been fun. It's been an awesome season from start to finish, just overall. The playoffs, obviously, I want my team to be in the finals, to be winning championships, but that aside, the playoffs, the series, the finals, everything was great. So yeah, we appreciate you guys that have rocked with us. We appreciate the haters that have come through and talk shit. Our haters are our biggest motivators. Don't forget it.
That's right.
And yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Don, appreciate you. David,
Indeed.
James, Ghost,
everybody.
Throwback. Who else is in here? Niakila, Daniel Barry. We appreciate you all. Much love. We're out of here. Everybody have a safe, wonderful night. See you tomorrow. Peace.